Hi everyone, my name's Caroline. I'm a humanistic integrative counsellor, and I thought I'd come on today and chat a little bit about the thought or feeling that we might have running in the back of our minds, of this sort of sense of I'm failing at life. And this is something that I hear really, really frequently from my clients. It's a thought and feeling that I've also had to battle with in my life. And I'm recording this video the day after England have lost at the final of the Euros. So it's kind of pertinent as well to, perhaps how they're feeling, although arguably being a professional footballer, playing for England, it's hard to say you're failing at life, but there will be, I imagine, a huge sense of failure amongst the players and amongst in our country, around the world for those who do support England at football. They had a lot on their shoulders, they had a lot riding on them, didn't they? I think we were all really hoping that this would be the one, but sadly it wasn't to be. So yeah, this idea of I'm failing at life. So a lot of my clients have come to me specifically to talk about this issue, or if not, people might come to me and start off talking about other things, and then when we sort of work through some of the other stuff, this theme very, very often arises. And so I think it's perhaps worth talking about and sort of throwing a few ideas around. I really welcome your feedback as to what you think. Any comments, very welcome. And I'll see if I can rustle up a few ideas as we go along, as to what might be helpful for you. So I did a video, I don't know, a few months ago, something along the lines, I can't remember the exact title. If I remember, I'll try and link it at the end or at some point over here or up here. And it's called something like I Must Be a Robot. And this is the idea that as we grow up, particularly when we're younger, we are given the message either overtly or as behaviourally, or sort of the body language of our childhood or our teenagers or our young adulthood, from the people around us. So I'm not saying, oh, it's all your parents' fault. I'm not saying that, but there can be really influential people in your life. Often it can be siblings, older or younger, uncles, aunts, grandparents, teachers, friends, and sort of the bullies of the school ground, or the popular kids, or even sort of very early romantic relationships. Can have a massive impact on the way we think about ourselves, the way we feel about ourselves, and therefore our subsequent behaviour, and the kind of the loops and the repetitive cycles that we can get ourselves into, and just can't quite figure out how to get out of them. So I think one of the first things I think it's important to look at is what does winning look like for you? So if you feel as though you're failing at life, I think a really helpful exercise is to write down a list of things that what does winning look like? Is it what's it based around for you? What are your values? And I think that can be a really helpful sort of self-reflective, self-development exercise. And what are those things that you're wanting to achieve, and how will that make you feel when you do achieve those goals? Are those goals very much on the physical material plane? Is it about the big house? Is it about the flash car? Is it about designer clothes, beautiful holidays, expensive jewelry? Or are there other things that you're actually are more important to you? I had a really interesting experience a few days ago of meeting a couple who live really close to me, and they're about my age. They're in their 50s, and they have been there, done that, got the t-shirt, highly successful in their careers. Kids have all grown up. And they had it all. They had the house, they had the car, they had the lifestyle, and they came to the realization that actually one of the couple's health was not great, and they came to the realization that actually what was all this about? Well, why were they sort of working all the hours God sends to maintain this incredible lifestyle? And actually, they decided to literally give it all up. And they're downsizing to a 2-bedroom flat, very lovely 2-bedroom flat. They got rid of the I can't remember, Maserati maybe, well, one of the really expensive cars. They got rid of that. They've replaced it. I won't say the name of the car they've replaced it with, but if you imagine like a car that everyone sort of would, you just wouldn't look at it in any way, shape or form and think, oh, they're very financially secure. So just a really, I mean, I've until recently I was driving around in my son's Fiat Punto, so there's no judgment there about what sort of car you drive, but it was just really interesting to me. And this couple are one of the happiest couples I think I've ever met, actually. And they really do have each other's back. They really know how to enjoy life, and so for me that was a really interesting experience of meeting them and seeing that actually it's not about what the lifestyle, or certainly not the material stuff that you have necessarily, that can generate this sort of sense of like enjoying life. Now, of course, they have financial security, and that 100% makes a huge difference. And I'm not sort of taking away from how important that financial security is. But, one of the things I would encourage anyone and everyone to do is go and read Viktor Frankl's book Man's Search for Meaning. He was, or I don't think he still is, but he was a physician, and he was incarcerated in one of the Nazi prisoner of war camps. And it's a really just quite a short, slim book. I found it life changing. His observations around, getting through each day, and what he would do. He had nothing, and what he was able to do in order to find meaning in his life, in order to survive, in order to be, and one of the things that he he was able to find meaning in doing was helping other people. So I think if we just put a pin in that and sort of remember that it is entirely possible, even if it at the whatever space you're in at the moment in your life, even if it doesn't feel possible, it is entirely possible to find meaning in a place in your life in which there doesn't feel like there's any meaning. So yeah, I think doing that exercise and actually writing out a list of what are your values, and if you do, let's say you are able to achieve this amazing house, amazing car, amazing body, whatever it is that you're hoping for, how will that make you feel? How will you feel inside when you've achieved that? Because you know from my experience, I've been all sorts of body shapes and sizes, and I've been a size 8 and I've been a size 18. Was I happier when I was a size 8 compared to when I was a size 18? Absolutely not. Actually, when I was at both of those ends of what my body goes to, I was actually probably in the worst sort of headspace of my life. I'm now somewhere in between, and I'm in the best headspace of my life. And so, is it that you will miraculously achieve becoming a size 8 and then, everything falls into place? From my experience, absolutely not. If anything else, I felt worse, and I spent a lot of time trying to become even thinner than a size 8, which was just completely reckless and just not okay for my body. So I think, what are we saying here in terms of, why do we feel as though we're still failing at life, even if we're this, very slim size 8, that I still had this compulsion to want to become even thinner? And so I think one of the themes that we need to perhaps look at is this idea of comparison and comparing to other people. Is it that I wanted to be a slimmer body shape so that other people would look at me and think I was higher value as an individual, as a person? Did that make me more special as a person because I had less body fat? This was when I was in my 20s, so I have to sort of dig deep to remember that experience. But I think it was. I can confidently say that, my mum, bless her heart, she was an air stewardess in the 1960s. So she was only able to get her job as an air stewardess if she weighed a certain amount of. There was a weight limit on whether you could become an air stewardess or not. You also couldn't remain in that job if you were married. They only wanted single females of a certain body shape and size. Horrifying, absolutely horrifying. But that's, for me, that's only one generation away. And so for her, she grew up with this the image of Twiggy in the 60s with I don't know if anyone watching is familiar with the 60s. I imagine you're sort of my age group probably. And so she was a very, very thin model, used to wear little teeny tiny mini skirts, looked incredible, and absolutely nothing wrong with that body shape if genetically that is how your body looks. For my mum, she just didn't look like that. She has the classic sort of hourglass figure, and so she would tell me stories of how when she was on her flights, in her break, she would get a ski yogurt, and she would pick the fruit out of the ski yogurt and leave the yogurt. in order to try and keep as skinny as she possibly could. So what does that mean? What does that mean for me? Whereas as I was growing up, did my mum overtly say words like, "You're not good enough the way you look"? No, she absolutely didn't. She didn't say those words. But I grew up in an environment, a sense, an energy of, as a woman, it's really important to reduce, to keep your body size small, to keep reducing yourself in order to fit in. I mean, and my mum sort of used to cook the most incredible food. She was a very, very accomplished cook, and would always serve up absolutely beautiful dinners. And there was never sort of any sense of, you mustn't eat this, you mustn't eat that, when I was a child. But just growing up, watching her really, really worrying about her weight, it was enough to influence me, so that, you know, along with the fact that our age group grew up in the the 90s occurred when I was in my 20s, so we were bombarded with images of heroin chic, Kate Moss, you know, being a size zero. I think I remember the Spice Girls, Victoria Beckham. It was always about being a size zero. So there's all of that influence on us as well. And so there's these constant messages. You might get them a little bit at home, then they're reinforced by the media. And so we grow up with this feeling that it doesn't matter how thin I am, it doesn't matter how big my house is, none of that matters, it will never be enough. And this is summed up really cleverly, I think, by a psychotherapeutic model that I work with. It's the person-centered model espoused by Carl Rogers, and his concept is of an external locus of evaluation. So this is the idea that when we are out of balance, when we are not being our true and authentic self, we are spending too much of our time being concerned about what other people think about us, as opposed to an internal locus of evaluation, whereby we are more focused on, what do I think, feel, believe and behave? What's good for me? What works for me? Doesn't matter what society thinks. What works for me? And how much is our self-worth affected by how other people perceive us? And so this exercise, sort of write down your values and look at what is it that for you constitutes winning at life rather than failing at life. Once you've written that list, maybe go back to that list and have a look and see, you know, which of those goals are actually something that I want for me, as opposed to, I want that because I think that's going to mean that to other people I look like I'm a person of higher worth or value. And what do I mean by that? I mean, is it that it feels super important to you as a person to have, you know, a nice car that's clean, works well, gets you from A to B, is safe, reliable and all the rest of it? Or is it, and is that something that you'd be happy within yourself? Or, are you really wanting to have let me think of a really fancy car. Is it that you really want the Mercedes sports car because then you feel like other people are going to be thinking, oh, look at her, she's got what an amazing car. And what does that actually give you, that feeling as though other people think you're a person of higher worth, higher value? How does that make you think about yourself? How does that make you feel internally? Because if we're constantly giving our subconscious mind the message that other people think I'm worthy, I'm worthwhile because of my material goods, or other people think I am more worthy because of my physical appearance, or substitute this for anything else that is important. I have thousands of followers on YouTube. I have thousands of likes on Instagram. I have, the cutest dog. I have the most good looking husband. I have the latest piece of jewelry or the latest iPhone, etc., 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 and the list can go on of things that you might believe will elevate your value to the outside world. But when we keep reinforcing that message within ourselves, the message we're actually giving to ourselves is, I have no worth. I have no worth unless I can show I have worth through external items, or the way I look, the size of my house, the cuteness of my dog, the attractiveness of my husband. And if we continue to keep reinforcing that externally to everyone else, then we are also reinforcing that into ourselves, into our subconscious, into our nervous system. And so we're on this self-perpetuating loop of, actually, it doesn't matter what I achieve. It doesn't matter how cute my dog is, how fast my car is, because the only message that I'm continuing to give myself is, I'm only worthwhile if I have these things. And if not only if I have these things, but if I have these things and other people have noticed that I've got these things and are giving me positive reinforcement through my likes on Facebook or, I don't know, Snapchat, TikTok. And all the time we're continuing to reinforce those neural networks in our brain, then we are never going to break the cycle. Never, ever, ever. And that's really worth thinking about. Now, I'm not saying that it's not important to have nice things. I like nice things. I like, I have a suede jacket over there hanging up. It cost me quite a lot of money. I love it. I love it because it's an unusual colour. I love it because it's really soft. I love it because it fits me really well. It's light but warm, and I wear it all the time. Do I wear it because I want other people to look at it and go, oh, that's a good quality jacket, look at her? I mean, I have got an ego. I like to look nice, but mostly I like to look nice because I like to present myself well. I like to put time and effort into being the best version of myself that I can be. Um, I also have a denim jacket. Sometimes I will wear the denim jacket. Is that about, you know, do I care that much about what other people think? Uh, well, no one's going to look at me in a denim jacket and think, oh, hasn't she got amazing style? um, so, yeah, it's a balance, isn't it? And this Carl Rogers model of the external locus of evaluation and the internal locus of evaluation is about a journey. It's about a journey starting off by realizing that actually we are putting our desire for happiness, we are incorrectly believing that we will be happy, we will feel like we're winning at life if other people show us, tell us that we are winning at life. And the journey actually to win at life and be happier is this process of moving from an external locus of evaluation, worrying about what everyone else thinks, to an internally focused locus of evaluation of what do I think about myself? What do I want? What do I want to say? What do I want to do? What do I want to feel, think? What colour jacket do I want to wear today? And so, of course, bound into that journey, there's a whole host of, elements that we really do need to start working on if we want to flip it on its head, if we want to start feeling as though we're winning at life, and breaking the power that other people have over us. And of course, part of, sadly baked into that cake is the power of social media. I spoke about that in my last video. I sort of always bang on about that. And the dopamine addiction that we all have. I mean, unless you're living off grid, there's not many people that, don't have a dopamine addiction on some level or another. But how can we manage that, and how can we be able to sit in that space of, I'm going to upload stuff to social media if that's what I want to do, and it's okay if I only get 3 likes. It's okay if no one comments. Why was I uploading it in the first place? What need was I feeding in myself by creating a video, by putting up a message, by taking a selfie? What need was I feeding in myself that I was hoping other people were going to meet? Because that's mainly what we use social media for. We all have needs. We all have a need to be seen, to be understood, to be heard, to be part of a group. Even the most introverted sort of hermit, there will still be an urge there to be part of the group, because we're social creatures, and being part of a group in our primitive brain equals survival. So putting stuff on Facebook and getting a reaction from other people tells our subconscious brain, people like me, people accept me. But at the same time, it's also giving the message that I'm only acceptable if I put material up that people like and people react to and people respond to. So going full circle back round to what I said earlier around Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, you know, perhaps alongside your list of things you want to achieve in life, maybe you can write a list sort of and digging around for actually what feelings do I want to feel, what values are important to me, not just what material goals do I have, how do I want to feel in my life, what do I want to be remembered for, what do I want to give to society, what do I want to give to my friends, my family, my partner, my children, my cat, my dog. And in Man's Search for Meaning, it was this drive that Viktor Frankl had to help others that kept him alive. It was that hope that he could change someone's life just by stealing a small piece of bread, and he would just find these incredible ways to help others. And it was the helping others that gave him meaning in his life, that meant that he was able to survive that absolutely horrendous experience and come out the other end and give this incredible book to us. So my last suggestion is something that we were invited to do in our counsellor training, and I found incredibly powerful. And it was to imagine you are in your old age. I don't know what that looks like to you. Super old age, maybe in your 90s, maybe even older, maybe, or maybe sort of late 80s. I don't know, whatever old age means to you. And give yourself time to really sit in that space of, I am on death's door. I really am, I'm aware that perhaps I don't have much longer to live. What advice would I like to give my current self about how to live my life for the next 40, 50, 30, 20, 60 years? What advice can I give myself in terms of what are my priorities? What are my values? How getting to the end of my life, where when you're at the end of your life, are you going to look back on your life and think, there's a meme, isn't there, that goes around the internet? Do you ever get to the end of your life, look back and think, I wish I'd worked harder. I wish I'd spent more time cleaning my house. And I think generally the feeling is that you're probably not going to regret, giving the dusting a miss in order to go out and do something that's going to make you feel like you're living, you're really living a really, you know, if you enjoy dusting and that's your thing, crack on. Please come to my house, do my dust. No, but yeah, I think it's a really valid exercise. I got a huge amount out of it. I'd go so far as to say it was life changing, because no one else can tell you what's important to you, because we're all so different. No one else can, but your 99-year-old self might be able to have some real little gems that will really help to guide you through this next part of your journey. Hopefully to feeling like you are winning rather than failing. So I hope that was interesting or helpful or both. And if you would like to like and subscribe, that'd be lovely. And I'll try and remember to link the I must be a robot or something about that video. And thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.